the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering do or die around me. You say your last good night while I get
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psywar.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
gripping at my skin, the walls of night closing.
but the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psywar soldiers.
According to Department of Homeland Security reports, Facebook has replaced almost every other CIA information gathering program since it was launched in 2004.
After years of secretly monitoring the public, we were astounded so many people would willingly publicize where they live, their religious and political views, an alphabetized list of all their friends' personal email addresses, phone numbers, hundreds of photos of themselves, and even status updates about what they were doing moment to moment. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA.
Much of the credit belongs to CIA agent Mark Zuckerberg, who runs the day-to-day Facebook operation for the agency. The decorated agent, codenamed the Overlord, was recently awarded the prestigious Medal of Intelligence Commendation for his work with the Facebook program, which he has called, quote, the single most powerful tool for population control ever created. Among the biggest successes of the Facebook program is Operation Farmville, which the CIA credits with pacifying as many as 85 million people after unemployment.
Get out of here, boy.
Don't touch me.
Go.
Let me ask you about the economy, though. We're talking about some of those cultural issues, but front and center, at least Republicans hope so, will be inflation and how expensive, as you know, it is to go fill up your car with a tank of gas or to scan through a grocery line these days. Unemployment is low, yes. There are more jobs than we can fill in this country, yes. But people are having trouble for paying for things right now. How do you address that to voters come fall?
I think we agree with them that, yes, prices are too high. And we explain what our process is and what our plan is to bring those prices down. Listen, we also need to remind Americans of what this president and this administration and having a unified Congress has been able to do, that we saved Americans' lives. The Democrats were the one that saved Americans' jobs and Americans' businesses. And if you stick with us, we're the ones that are going to bring us out of this inflation and supply chain issues. That if you go to the other side, none of these things are going to be there. And that's the clear message that Democrats have got to be laser focused on, to agree with Americans that, yes, this is in fact true. Yes, you are facing these problems. We have addressed the others, just like we faced COVID and we got us out of it. We faced job loss and businesses being closed and we got us out of it. And we as Democrats are the only ones who care about your everyday life, and we're going to get you out of it also.
So the forum is becoming now, if I look at the future and our role in the global governance system, we will concentrate much more on systems design for the future. Like Singapore is doing so on a more national level, we are doing it on a global level. So we have defined 15 key systems for the world. For example, the future, shaping the future of digital industries, shaping the future of the financial monetary system, shaping the future of health system, shaping the future of socially inclusive countries, shaping the future of education, and I could go on and on.
Wow, that's exceptional, particularly given that you told me just a few minutes ago in our earlier round that you weren't aware of the many comments that I read to you then, one after another, after another, after another, when you hired her for this job. So clearly you didn't do your due diligence, and now you're telling me that you're not concerned about her frankly outrageous and vitriolic statements that are partisan in the extreme.
Because
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
Let me share with you something. She was hired by the Department of Homeland Security.
You said that you're responsible for that.
I am the Secretary of Homeland
Indeed.
Security. And therefore I bear responsibility.
Indeed. Why don't you fire her?
And so she is going to execute her responsibilities in a nonpartisan way and accomplish the mission for which she has been hired.
Why don't you just dissolve this board? I mean, you haven't heard a single senator support this board. It is an abomination. It is unconstitutional. And frankly, it is embarrassing. And the fact that you've chosen this person to lead it is appalling. Why don't you just dissolve it?
Senator, this board, this working group provides a very important function.
No, it doesn't.
We have been executing our mission to address disinformation that threatens the security of the homeland for years.
So what does this board add? Dissolve it.
So allow me to answer your question. We have lacked sufficient guardrails, policies, and standards to guide that work, to ensure that that work, which has been done for nearly 10 years, is done in a way that does not infringe on people's right of free speech, right of privacy, rights and civil liberties.
Okay.
And that's what this working group is going to do.
They're going to put the guardrails in place. So just so we understand, you have chosen Ms. Jankowicz, who says that the distinction between free speech and censorship is false, who says that the president's supporters are homegrown purveyors of disinformation, who has called herself the Mary Poppins of misinformation. You've chosen her to create guardrails for the entire federal government for free speech.
Senator.
I mean, that's exceptional.
Senator.
That's amazing.
try this, we are professionals.
This September, the Italian city of Bologna is piloting a social credit system, the first of its kind in Europe. The municipal government is introducing a smart citizen wallet, rewarding digital points for citizens who demonstrate virtuous behavior. Disturbingly, actions related to one's carbon footprint are central to what's considered rewardable virtuous behavior. Because use is still voluntary, this social credit system isn't yet as all-encompassing as the one that exists in China. Rather than penalizing citizens for not behaving virtuously, as defined by the government, citizens will only be rewarded. The government hopes that this distinction, treating the social credit score more like a reward card, will increase the adoption among Italian citizens. While usage remains voluntary, it is definitely a slippery slope. Overall, the success, failure, and rate of acceptance of Bologna's soft social credit system could have profound consequences for the rest of Italy and may be looked back on as the moment Europe began crossing the Rubicon. Our power is our resistance.
Definition. There had to be a conspiracy.
22 years later, Stone is still convinced he's right.
Governments lie. And everything we've learned since 1991 when the film came out has reinforced the notion that the governments have not been straight with us.
Do you see conspiracies in everything?
No, not in everything. We have conspiracies, but we also have actions that happen randomly, and accidents do happen.
Could it just be that we can't wrap our minds around the idea that the most powerful man in the world could be taken out by a nobody?
But I can wrap my mind around that, sure. McKinley was taken out by an anarchist. Lincoln was taken out by, he was taken out by a conspiracy, but John Wilkes Booth was a totally emotional man. Assassinations are often done by loners.
But not in this case.
I don't believe so in this case because of all the evidence around Dealey Plaza that day, and the autopsy, and the gun, and the bullet, and the 1,000 little reasons that I'm trying to tell you, too.
And Stone didn't stop with his JFK movie. His 12-hour documentary series, The Untold History of the United States, which aired on the CBS-owned cable network Showtime, fills in the gaps, as he sees them, in the rest of the 20th century.
Dwight Eisenhower put the world on a glide path towards annihilation with the most gargantuan expansion of military power in history.
But Stone says we'll likely never have definitive proof of what happened in Dallas.
You don't think we will ever know?
I don't think it's going to be a smoking gun like you think it is, but I do think if you go to the negatives and you add them up, your logic will lead you, like Sherlock Holmes said, to a deduction. And that deduction is that he was removed.
By more than one man?
Yes. Yes, by more than one man. He was removed by our government. Not the entire government, I'm sorry, by certain elements in the CIA, I believe, control this operation. They're very good at this game.
Range is hot.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby.
All the girls say I'm pretty fly.
For the white guy. Juno. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. You know, it's kind of hard just to get along today.
Our subject isn't cool, but he fakes it anyway.
He may not have a clue,
And he may not have style, but everything he lacks, well, he makes up in denial. So don't debate the player straight. You know, he really doesn't get it anyway. Gonna play with feel.
and keep it real. For you, no way. For you, no way. So if you don't afraid,
just overcompensate.
at least you know you can always go
on CNN.
The world needs flying bees. Hey, do this.
On the sink.
Give it to me, baby.
Give it to me, baby. He said, Joey, baby. All the girls say, I'm pretty fly.
For the white guy.
I'm Joe Biden, and I forgot this message.
It wasn't until early February when I was in a meeting that experts at the foundation said, there's no way, there's been too much travel without diagnosis for us to contain this. And then at that point, we didn't really understand the fatality rate. We didn't understand that it's a fairly low fatality rate and that it's a disease mainly of the elderly, kind of like flu is, although a bit different than that. So that was a pretty scary period where the world didn't go on alert, including the United States, nearly as fast as it needed to.
Of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country, we work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech. You think we can't determine speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is.
Big building up there. Big building down here. And what happened, Mr. Drifter? Lost it? Huh? What happened?
Long before she met Doug Emhoff, she dated some prominent men, including in 2001, former talk show host Montel Williams. Back then, he was the famous one and had to introduce her to the paparazzi.
There was a scandal involving McDonald's that the company wants you to forget. If you played the McDonald's Monopoly game back in the 1990s, then you were a victim of this crime. You see, you were promised a chance to win big prizes if you played the game, but those big prizes were already stolen. Jerome Jacobson worked for the security company that handled the distribution of big winning game pieces. Jacobson would steal winning pieces and sell them to family and friends, taking part of the prize as his own payment. He and everyone involved went to jail in 2001.
This afternoon, the Secretary General and Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, will witness the signing of a memorandum of understanding on a strategic partnership between the UN and the World Economic Forum, which outlines areas of cooperation to deepen engagement between the two institutions and to jointly accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda.
¿Qué? You ready for Cinco de Mayo?
Sí, sí.
You ready for Cinco de Mayo?
Dame. Let's go, papi. Let's get it. Go. Yeah. Let's go, baby.